What is going on, guys? This is Jake at That Fit Friend, and I have a really fun video in store for you today. Today we're talking about budget-friendly shoes to train in. So all of the models up here cost $100 USD or less, and I wanted to put this video together because if you're on the market for a shoe for tackling a certain type of workout and you don't want to spend a ton of money, these are all decent options for tackling different workouts in different contexts. And that being said, I have bucketed each of these shoes into different sections based off of where they're going to perform the best. So check out the timestamps down below if you are interested in anything specific. But now let's dive into our first category, which is budget-friendly cross-training shoes with a much more versatile focus to them. So when it comes to budget-friendly training shoes designed for more versatile training, so this will be like classes, more HIIT workouts, more casual lifting, so we're not going super heavy with the barbell. We have 4 models up here: the Reebok Nano Flex TR, the Reebok Speed 21 TR, the Under Armour Project Rock BSR, and the Under Armour Hover Rise 2. So you might have noticed that I had 2 different models in the first opening clip, and that is because the Hover Rise 3, I forgot that Under Armour actually raised it to 110 USD for this model. Like, come on, Under Armour. And also the HIIT TR by Reebok. There's only a few sizes left for them, so I didn't want to include them and only have like 4 sizes available. I feel like that's counterproductive. So let's talk about each of these models really fast based on the context in which I think they excel the most. So when it comes to the models up here that I think would be the best for a bit more of a versatile focus, but you can also still lift in, the Reebok Nano Flex TR is pretty solid. The only caveat with this model is that the ankle construction can be a little bit uncomfortable at times and the tongue can actually slide a little bit. But overall, this has been a pretty good, like, budget-friendly trainer for tackling decently heavy work. So I've trained up to 455 pounds in this model, and it's decent for more versatile training because, as you can see, as opposed to like the Nano 10 that has a much more stable base, this model's midsole does compress a little bit easier, so it does give you a little bit more of a responsive feel with your training. The Reebok Speed 21 TR is okay. It's good for like HIIT sessions or more like class style workouts. It is not my favorite for any form of lifting because it has such a thick midsole that you're not going to have a lot of stability in this model. And overall, like, I'm kind of sad about this model compared to like the previous Speed TR, which I was a huge fan of, but I'll like save that gripe and you can check out my individual review on this shoe if you want to learn more about that and the why. But this model is solid for class workouts, HIIT workouts, or anything where you're going to be jumping a lot. This model has an energy foam midsole, so it gives you a lot of pop and a lot of responsiveness. And across the board, for $100 USD, it is an okay HIIT and class style shoe. The Under Armour Project Rock BSR is a pretty good model for kind of tackling a little bit of everything. And this is a really good model for being that budget-friendly Project Rock model. So if you like Project Rock line and you don't want to buck up and pay like the $140, $150 that they charge for the other models, totally understand. The BSR is a decent option for just more recreational lifting, classes, lighter runs, etc. The midsole construction is decent across the board. The outsole has the tri-base tech on the outsole here. So as you can see, we have that tri-base tech to promote a more stable base to lift on. And across the board, this model has been exceptionally well with its durability too. The upper is decently durable and it has that booty construction, so it fits really snug on the foot and gives you a nice, comfortable feel no matter what style of training you are doing. The Under Armour Hover Rise 2 is honestly like one of the tried and true favorites that I have for my budget-friendly models up here. This model is consistently solid across the board for daily wear, lighter runs, HIIT training, lifting. Like, it's not going to be your all-out CrossFit shoe, but as like a kind of shoe that can like dip its toes in every direction, the Hover Rise 2 is a good model to check out. And they're like run for $100 USD, but I think they are on sale right now, and they often are on sale because they're an older model. The Hover Rise 3 is out, this is the 2, so it's usually marked down, so if you can get them for even less than 100, I think they're a pretty good steal across the board. Overall, they have a hover midsole, so you're going to get a lot of responsiveness with this model, but also the hover midsole in this shoe doesn't actually compress that much, so you can train up to like 400-ish pounds in this model and not have any real big issues with stability across the board. So these are 4 good budget-friendly training shoes with a much more versatile focus to their construction. They're not going to be the best for maxing out your barbell lifts, and they're not so focused for like supporting CrossFit style training. But if you want a shoe for kind of tackling a little bit of everything and more recreational lifting, all 4 of these models are decent across the board. And if you have any questions on any one of these, if you check them out and you like one model, hit me in the comments below and I will answer whatever you have. and direct you towards the model that I think would fit your needs best. Our next category is training shoes and cross-training shoes with a bit more of a stability bias to their construction. You can obviously still use these shoes for tackling versatile workouts, but when it comes to like handling different loads, especially heavier loads, these shoes can hold their own. So I have two options up here for you. The first is the Puma Fuse training shoe. This is Puma's first official cross-training shoe, and across the board, it's an interesting model. It's like a good first take, I think, on this model line for Puma, and it's very stable across the board. Has a decently maneuverable sole here, so as you can see, it has a lot of give in the forefoot, so it does have a lot of pop to it and a lot of responsiveness as well. But the only caveat with this model is that the upper does somewhat break down quickly, especially through the midfoot. If you're doing a ton of rope climbs on them, they don't really have any tech to protect that midfoot from rope climbs and abrasion, etc. So across the board, I like the Puma Fuse. It comes in at $90 USD. It can support its own when it comes to heavier lifting, but the upper durability is kind of a problem when it comes to the long-term nature of it. My second model up here is the Reebok Nano 10. Now normally, and some of the colorways are still coming in at $130 USD, but I wanted to include this model up here because a lot of them are actually marked down for less. So I constantly have people commenting on my videos like, hey, I got a pair of Reebok Nano 10s for $75, which a lot of the colorways on Reebok's site right now are marked down too, which is phenomenal. This is one of the better Nanos to date in my lowly irrelevant opinion, but across the board, the Nano 10 can hold its own under heavier weight. It can do it decently well in versatile workouts. We have that split outsole construction. We have that high density midsole up here in the forefoot for a little extra pop. We have that TPU wrap here through the midfoot and the heel, and we have that flex weave upper for overall durability. So if you are looking for a cross-training shoe on a budget that can hold its own under different weights in CrossFit workouts, etc., look for the Nano 10, especially if you could find it on sale. It is a really good model, and now that the Nano 11 is out, they're only going to start going down more, so I would say stock up now, honestly, if you're trying to save a bit of money on a really consistent shoe. But now, let's dive into our next category. Our next shoe category is budget-friendly shoes that you can recreationally train in and also wear on a daily basis. So these shoes you can wear for things like powerlifting and heavier lifting and not have to worry about stability, etc. And you can rock them out and about, and they look pretty good on a casual basis. So two models up here, we have the Vans Authentic and the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star. The Vans Authentic comes in at $50 USD. This Chuck Taylor All-Star comes in around $60 USD, so they are both well under $100. And when it comes to the Vans Authentic, the only caveat and drawback to this model is that they don't have the best stack height. They are pretty thick when it comes to their midsole and outsole construction. So when it comes to deadlifts, you are going to be a little bit elevated in this model. Now, you're not going to experience much compression with it, but that being said, that is something to think about with this shoe, but it's hard to front $50 and that classic Vans look, and this is a pretty good, consistent, low-top model across the board for more recreational training. The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star has a special place in my heart. This is actually the shoe I started powerlifting in, and when it comes to this model and why I like it, similarly to the Vans Authentic, the midsole and outsole don't compress under heavier loads. These both have a zero drop, so they have a 0mm heel toe drop, so if you like a flatter foot position, you're gonna get that in both of these models. And why I kind of like the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star over the Vans Authentic is I like the high top construction. I'm actually not a fan of the low top model in this, and I do like that the midsole and stack height in this model is a little bit less than the Vans Authentic. So when it comes to things like deadlifts, I will take the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star over the Vans Authentic because of the stack height. It's not the biggest difference, but when you're training in a model consistently, those little things can add up over time. So across the board, both of these models are really great for recreational training, powerlifting, etc. I have compared them in depth in their own separate video that is linked up there. Check it out if you're interested in either of these models, or if you're on the fence and you need a little bit of which model should I go with. That video should help you out. But now let's dive into our final category. Our final category is budget-friendly training shoes that are barefoot in nature. So we have one single lowly little shoe up here, and that is the Zero Shoes Prio model. So you can train in this model, and it does a decent job on a daily basis, and it's a barefoot shoe. So if you want a barefoot shoe for different forms of training, the Prio I think is a really good entry model to get into barefoot shoes. It has a price point of $89.99 USD. So compared to other barefoot shoes on the market, this is one of the more cost-efficient models out there. And across the board, the upper is decently durable. It has a removable insole, so you can take out this insole, and the internal internal portion of the shoe is finished, so you don't have that exposed material, so it's not going to break down fast, and it's going to get you really close to the ground for things like deadlifts or any other lower body movement where you really want to feel the ground below the feet. So for a good budget conscious barefoot shoe that you can train in, I would say check out the Zero Shoes Prio. It is pretty consistent across the board. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing model out there. However, for training and some more casual daily wear, I think it does a pretty good job, especially for its price. All right, guys, that wraps up this review on budget-friendly shoes to train in a bunch of different contexts. I have done individual reviews on all of these shoes, so if you are interested in any one single model, check those out. You'll get a really deep dive look into that shoe to see if it's a good pick for your needs. If you have any questions about the shoes up here or any of the models, hit me in the comments below or reach out to me personally, whichever you prefer. And as always, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next one.